Coming up next, how social media is affecting your job offers. I'll tell you when a pay cut makes sense. We'll take your chats, your phone calls, and more. It all starts right now. Coming to you live from Ramsey Studios in Nashville. You are joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do it, and how you can get there. It's all about you because you were created to fill a unique role. That means you are needed, even if you don't feel that way right now. But that also means you must do it. Somebody out there needs you to be you. So there is a responsibility for you to get clear so that you can get qualified and get connected and get started, get that dream job after working so very hard to get there. And then you find yourself in that dream job, and what happens then? Well, then we work like no one else because we're giving ourselves away. Our work is an extension of who we are. It's not completely who we are. It is an extension of who we are. I believe that we are created to work, not from a workaholic standpoint, but from a contribution standpoint. What you do to give of yourself away is so vitally important because somebody is the recipient of your gift. So you're giving your gift away. Now let's talk about a very important development in the hiring process. Technology is advancing, and so that means technology is disrupting. As it advances, it disrupts. And so it's disrupting specifically getting hired. How? Fantastically interesting article from CNN Business. There's a new obstacle to landing a job after college, getting approved by AI. Artificial intelligence. That's right. You know it. It's here. How's it affecting job interviews? College career centers used to prepare students for job interviews by helping them learn how to dress appropriately or write a standout cover letter. These days, they're also trying to brace students for a stark new reality. They may be vetted for jobs in part by artificial intelligence. The shift in preparation comes as more businesses that are interested in filling internships and entry-level positions, they see a glut of applicants. And so they can't handle, if you think about it, the way they used to handle all the applications. Technology has made applications easier, right? Everything's online. And so people are willing to apply more, put more applications into the system, if you will, because it's so easy. So how do companies respond to this? With a technology solution. And so AI is helping them quickly conduct the vast number of interviews that is needed, and it's done via video. There's a company cited in this article from CNN Business, HireVue. Through this company, businesses can pose predetermined questions, often recorded by the hiring manager. And then candidates answer on camera through a laptop or smartphone. Increasingly, those videos are then poured over by algorithms. This is where the artificial intelligence comes in. It's using an algorithm on your responses, also your voice, and then trying to determine what kind of attributes or qualities you may have. So the algorithms conclude whether the candidate is tenacious, resilient, good at working on a team, so forth and so on. So algorithms are looking at things such as word usage, pronouns, facial expressions to determine how likely you are as a candidate to possess the attribute that they are looking for, the hiring manager. Could be things such as empathy or willingness to learn. So these assessments are being used for primarily entry-level jobs because candidates don't have a lot of work history. So if you think about that, because you don't have a ton of work history, they're trying to look for clues. So what do you do with this information? Here's the good news. You do the same thing to prepare for an AI interview that you do for an in-person interview. Because think about it. These algorithms are searching for the same thing that people are searching for when they interview you over the phone or in person. So don't get freaked out by this. But this information is coming out there and people are trying to prepare them. But here's the deal. In this article, which I didn't have time to get into, these schools are saying, well, at the end of the day, we don't know exactly what the algorithms are looking for, so it's hard to prepare them, but they're just preparing people for the same old, same old. confidence. Raise your phone or your computer a little bit higher so that it looks like you're making eye contact. Well, all this is the same stuff that works in an in-person interview. So don't overthink this. Here's what you do. Go to kencoleman.com right now and download my free resource called How to Win the Interview. And it's written for the AI interview, the in-person interview, the over-the-phone interview. Why? Because it all comes down to one thing. You ready? Relentless preparation leads to reflexive performance. When you're prepared, you're going to be more confident, which means you're going to portray confidence in the interview. And the algorithm, even the AI, will pick up on your confidence. So be prepared. And when you prepare, your brain will allow you to perform. So don't get freaked out. Go get the Win the Interview Guide at kencoleman.com. 844-747-2577 is the number, 844-747-2577. Before we get to the phones, I want to say, hey, everybody, how you doing out there in YouTube land? If you're in the chat room, give us a thumbs up. If you're enjoying the show, give us a thumbs up. I want to hear from you. And hey, while you're watching, if you're enjoying this conversation that you get to be a part of, give us a like there right underneath the video window. Subscribe to the show. Share it to somebody that you feel will be benefited from this conversation. We are greatly, greatly thankful. I don't know if you can be greatly thankful. I guess you can. I can be thankful in a great way. Yeah, that works. Okay. Hey, folks, live television and radio, sometimes you say things and it doesn't make sense. I had to walk through that one. But hey, that's part of doing it live in front of you. And I'm having so much fun doing it because this is a real, authentic conversation that you get to engage in. So some of you are watching for the first time today. Maybe you're watching this on demand later. You want to call in the show and you're a little nervous. I promise you this. I'll always be kind. I'll always be honest. So join the conversation. 844-747-2577. Mary joins us in Tallahassee, Florida. Mary, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. I'm greatly thankful to talk to you today.
Yeah, see, it does work. Now that I hear somebody else say it, it actually works. I appreciate that. Well, I'm glad to talk with you. What's going on?
Oh, well, I have a job that I thought was going to be a great thing. Mm-hmm. And I have, in my first 90 days, used up all except for 2 hours of my sick leave for 2020.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's a big stressor.
Yeah.
I did your quiz a couple days ago, and I got wrong in both blanks.
Yeah. All right. But that wasn't surprising, was it, Mary?
No, it wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't.
Yeah. So?
Well.
Mary?
Yeah.
Come on, it's time for you to go. You know it, so we need to come up with a plan. First thing is, where do we want to go, and how do we get there? This is easy stuff. So let's start talking. Let's start talking real stuff here. You can't keep doing this. It's not good for your health.
No.
So why'd you call me? What can I help with, other than those two very clear things? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Why do you want to do it? Tell me. Let it fly, Mary. Let it fly.
Yeah. Well,
Mary?
I want to do what I wanted to do since I got my master's degree in 2001.
Just say it. You're scared to even tell me. I'm on Team Mary. Mary, just say it. Let it fly, Mary. 1, 2, 3, go.
I want to teach adults how to manage their money.
Hey! That wasn't so hard.
Right.
So what are you worried about? What are you so scared about? Let's name it. Let's make fun of your fear today. Let's make fun of your fear. Fear's silly.
My $70,000 in debt.
Okay. All right. That's real.
Apparently we want to teach what we most need to learn.
That's there's always a connection there. That's exactly right. As my wife Stacy says, out of tremendous pain comes great passion. And so we've got to figure out how to get there. Okay? So you want to be, if I could snap my fingers and make all the debt go away and guarantee you success, you'd be a financial coach. Is that what I'm hearing? Or do you want to go more into investment? Yeah. What are we talking about?
Well, I've thought of both. But if I'm going to be like a financial advisor, I want to be fee-based, where, you pay you $50 an hour, and I'm not going to make commission on what I'm selling.
Right, but that's a different thing than a coach. So a financial advisor is giving investment advice and things of that nature. And I would tell you that there are investment advisors all over the country that have debt. So your debt does not disqualify you. Okay?
Right.
So what we need to do is we don't want to interrupt our income in the process of getting where we want to go. So let's press pause on the future and let's look at what you're doing in the now. Are you following Dave Ramsey's baby steps to get out of debt?
I'm trying to work on it.
Well, no, hold on a second. You can't actually do what you just said.
You either do or you don't.
There you go. You can't try to do something. You can try something, but so you need to take it very serious. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Would you prefer to read Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover and do it that way? Or would you like to read it plus get involved with the Financial Peace University class where you've got some accountability and some people that are walking through the same stuff you are walking through? Which one would motivate you the most? Which one would encourage you the most? I'd like you to do both, but I want to know realistically what you're willing to commit to right this moment.
Well, both would be good, but right now I'm working 45, 50 hours a week.
Doesn't
mandatory
matter.
At this job.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
You can take a Financial Peace University class, or you can do it online at home. So the question is, because I'm concerned about your motivation, and I'm not getting on you. You're trying to do it. Well, you're not trying anything. So this is not going to get better. The $70,000 in debt is not going to go away until you start doing something about it. And I mean like today, deciding today.
Right. I'm
committed. And so I really would like you to join a class. I think you would benefit more by being in a class of people. And so Madison, in a moment when I put you on hold, she'll get you connected, or you can go online and find a class near you, and you need to sign up and you need to do it. And you need to spend the money to actually do it, because that's now it becomes painful because you've invested something, and you've got to get serious about getting control of your finances. Now, the second thing is you need to get a better day job. This day job's killing you, and you need to get a better day job. I don't think I'm even concerned right now about a dream job, because you know what you want to do long term. So let's go back to my 7 stages. Get clear. You're clear on what you want to do, helping people with their finances. So now it's about getting qualified. You've got to go find out, what is it going to take for you to get qualified to help people with their retirement investments and work for an established company where you're not worried about commission and you're doing it the right way. So these are actually people that Dave recommends every day, our SmartVestor Pros. There's people in Tallahassee that actually are part of our program. You could go have coffee with them. But you've got to find out what it takes to get qualified, Mary. Now, once you figure that out, you got to figure out how much that's going to cost you financially, and then how long it's going to take based on your financial reality. But you need some momentum in 2 areas of your life. Number one, you need to get a better day job where you're not miserable, or you're missing work because you're so stressed. That's the first thing, because that day job is going to be funding your future. And then while you're doing that, you need to commit to starting Financial Peace University. Read Dave's book, Total Money Makeover. I'm going to gift you both of those. Okay? You've got to do that. Okay? And you can get out of debt and move towards that dream job at the same time. It just doesn't mean it's all happening maybe in the same day, the same week, the same month, but you can begin to make progress in both of those. And I just told you how to do that. So Mary, I believe in you. You do have what it takes, but you're going to have to commit. You're going to have to say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And the pain is going to have to turn into passion. So you're not ready to advise anybody right now. You're not qualified. Okay? But you don't have to be out of debt to step into your dream work. Okay? We're just going to build a bridge so that interruption of income is never the possibility. Okay? So we have a plan. And I just gave you what you need to do. So Madison's going to take care of you. Let's go to Josh, who's on the line in Raleigh, North Carolina. Josh, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken. Awesome to speak with you.
Well, it's good to talk with you. How can I help?
So I've been teaching public school for about 3 years now. I love influencing lives of students, making sure they receive a really beneficial learning experience. The trouble I'm finding, though, isn't with the job itself. I love it. It's just I don't like the reliance on our test data as an indicator of their success or their intelligence. I've seen it break the kids down.
Yep.
Kids that I know are intelligent.
Yep.
Just not a big fan of the assessment. So I'd love to eventually be in a position where I can do the necessary research to decide on a better way to best assess and serve our students. But I'm just worried that the positions available, sort of like the Department of Public Instruction, are just going to further promote that same system that I would like to see changed. So I kind of want to know, how should I go about finding a career in that field that just right now seems like it's out of my...
Well, you're just looking in the wrong place. You're just acting almost as if public education is the only place for you to do what you want to do, and that's just short-sighted. Our entire conversation so far has been around the public school system. I can tell you this, the private school system, the higher education system is totally different. And that would allow you to do teaching. You can also get into non-traditional teaching and instructing, where you're teaching adults maybe in a specific career field. So before we go into that, I'm just curious, is there a specific topic or subject matter that you're really on fire to teach?
Right now I'm teaching English, and I enjoy it because it is a little bit more about
you didn't answer my question. You didn't answer my question. Answer my question the way I ask it. Okay, because it's designed to get a specific response. Is there a topic or subject matter that you are on fire to instruct and teach?
Currently, no. That's
the issue. So the reason I asked it that way is I thought that was the case, and you just identified for yourself, wait a second, I'm just kind of in this teaching role, and I'm limiting myself because I've kept myself in the mindset that the only place I can teach, because I enjoy teaching, is the public school system. And it's like we need to step back and go, and by the way, if the answer, Josh, is there's not a specific topic or subject, but there is a specific people group that I want to teach. Do you see the difference?
Right, yeah.
But it's one of the two, Josh. You're going to find your heart has got an answer to this question. What is it? What is the thing, the subject matter, the skill set that you want to teach more than anything else? Or who is the people group that you really want to instruct? You've got to get clarity on that, because now when we get that, we go, okay, what are all the ways that I could instruct on that subject matter, topic, or instruct that people group? So let's take a stab at it. Just for fun, Josh, I'm not going to hold you to this. What do you think if you had to pick one thing to teach or one group to teach, and I get you out of the public school system and all that standardized testing crap, which you and I both hate, okay? What would you be doing? I give it to you tomorrow, guaranteed you love it, guaranteed you don't fail. What are you teaching? Who are you teaching? Take a shot.
Definitely the group would be still middle through high school age kids.
Okay, why? No, stop. Why? You got to understand the why behind that heart answer. Tell me why that group.
I think just because I know they're at a stage where they've got some really, really important decisions to make, and I would just love to sort of be someone who can educate them on making those decisions towards what's going to happen for the rest of their lives.
Great. See, you feel that answer? Do you feel it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, see how you responded?
Yeah, definitely.
How clear are you right now?
A lot more than about 3 or 4 minutes ago.
Okay. So that group in that transitional phase of life, that has a deep connection for you. So now we answer the question, where can we teach that group and not be limited by standardized testing? And I'm going to tell you right now, it's private schools. Okay? It's private schools, whether it be religious or just, private schools. Charter schools.
Right.
I mean, that becomes your universe because you're not hampered by that garbage.
Right.
Am I right?
Yeah, definitely.
So what are you pausing about? That it's doing the same thing in a different place. You're doing the right thing in the wrong place right now. If you take my should I quit my job quiz, you're doing the right thing in the wrong place. You love teaching. You love teaching middle school students. You've got a heart for that age group and their transition. You love them. But the problem is you are constricted by the public school standardized system and you can't stand it. So go where the system isn't. And that's where it is in the private school area. And you're already qualified, Josh. So what's holding you up?
Yeah, no, you're right.
So what time is it, Josh?
It's time to start looking towards a new area to do the same thing that I know I can do and that I'm doing well.
It's time to go. You're in Raleigh, North Carolina. You need to find out how many private schools are in that triad, that triangle area. Wherever you're willing to drive, it's almost like you get out an old school atlas, right? And you go, okay, where am I willing to go to do this work? And you begin to identify those schools, and then you begin to use the proximity principle. Who do I know that knows somebody that's on staff there or has kids that go there? And so, Josh, it's time to go, man. It's time to go. 844-747-2577 is the number. We'll get back to the phones in a little bit, but let's go to the chat room. And Jonas has fired a question. I'm a single dad of 3 at home and a granddaddy of 2. I feel conflict about how intensely to pursue my purpose when I also must provide for my family right now. How can I do both? I love this question. You provide first and foremost. You keep providing. I'm assuming you're already providing. Don't stop providing. And as you are providing, you are taking incremental steps to build the bridge to be able to do the work that you love. That's the purpose. So it's the day job, funding the dream job. And you're taking care of your responsibilities, and incrementally might take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Hey, it took me 7 years to get to Ramsey Solutions, another 3 to step into the role, the dream role. Okay, so you can do both. And you always prioritize providing, but you can make progress towards the purpose while still providing. And then you step from one boat onto the other boat. That's how you do that. Eric B. writes in, can you be in your sweet spot if you're doing what you do best, along with what you love to do most, without feeling like you're making a difference in a cause you feel is important? No, you can't. That's what I believe are the 3 elements of sweet spot working and meaningful work in the dream job. You got to have all 3. So you have 2 of them. You are using what you do best to do work you love. But the results of your work, whether it be the company's product or resource or whatever it is, there's just not a deep connection for you. Now, there's 2 ways to go about this. You go find something that is the third part of the formula. It's really a formula. If I think about it, if I draw it on the paper, here's what it looks like. Use what you do best. That's talent. Plus work you love to do most. That's passion. To create results that matter most to you. That's mission. Talent, passion, mission. Talent plus passion plus mission equals meaningful work truly in the sweet spot. So you either need to make that change on that third piece and find something that you can really connect to, the results of your work that really deeply matters to you, or you reassess and go, wait a second, am I just having the wrong attitude? If you were on the phone right now, I would truly ask you this. What's your day? What do you do during the day? And what's the result of your work in the office? And then what is the resource or product that your company is providing? I'd deeply love to know that, because you might just need a perspective change. And I'm pointing this out, not to confuse, but to actually provide further clarity. What if you don't see your role as valuable as it actually is? What if you don't see the resource or product of your company as valuable as it actually is? And if you could say, wait a second, my day-to-day work is contributing to this product or to this resource, and this is making the difference in people's lives. It's possible that you need a perspective change. And so run that through. You already got 2 of the 3. I'm using what I do best to do what I love, but I'm not sure about the results of the work and does it connect to my heart? Well, let's dive deeper into that. And if you find that it's not that you don't have the right perspective, then let's begin looking for something that spits out a result of your work where you say, that matters deeply to me. 844-747-2577. Keep throwing those chat questions in. Love jumping in to the chat room. Appreciate those questions. I want to pivot real quick to a question that we get daily on this show. So much so that I wanted to address it for just a few moments. Here's the question we get. Hey, Ken, should I take a pay cut? Should I take a pay cut? Now, this is a serious question. And you've got to be able to look at a filter of 3 questions I'm about ready to give you that will then reveal the answer. So when does a pay cut make sense? Number 1, can you actually afford it? Like this, a pay cut can't throw you into financial uncertainty and, quite frankly, stupidity. It can't make things so tight that one little thing goes wrong and now we've created a tremendous amount of stress and negative actions, right? So now we start freaking out. Nobody makes sense when they're freaking out. Nobody acts the right way when they're freaking out. And when you start making things so tight financially for yourself, you are going to put yourself in a bad mental and emotional state. So number 1, can you afford it? Let me be more specific. Can you make sacrifices that are just simply about luxuries, or these are things that we can tighten up? We don't have to have the premium channels. We don't have to have cable. Is it a sacrifice? Yes. Is it going to put you in a tough financial position? No. So it has to fall under the category of I can sacrifice in the short term by making some cuts, and that will allow me to take the pay cut. Number 2, and before I move on, don't touch your emergency fund. Don't touch your savings. This has got to be sacrifice, not savings. If you can make some sacrifices and absorb the pay cut, I'm in. If it meets the final 2 qualifiers. Number 2, does it put you on the right path? If I'm taking a pay cut, I better know that I know it puts me on the right path. I'm stepping from this path over to the right path. If it puts me on the path, great. That's the second qualifier. But here's the final and the third qualifier. Does this job that I'm taking a pay cut for not only put me on the right path, but does it offer short-term growth? Meaning in the near future, I'm going to make up that pay cut. Meaning I got to get in, I got to pay my dues, I got to build my pipeline. But in the near term, I'm going to be able to grow. In other words, in the near future, I'm on a ladder and I'm climbing. Can you afford it through sacrifices, not putting yourself in a dire financial situation where your nose is barely above water? That's number 1. Number 2, does it put you on the right path? Get you in the industry that you want to be in, get you in. And number 3, it's going to offer growth in the near future. If it doesn't meet those 3 clear requirements, no, you should not take a pay cut. And let me tell you why. If it doesn't meet those 3 criteria, guess what? You're just being impatient and you're trying to force the situation. You can wait a little bit longer. You can hang in that day job and keep things stable financially and keep looking for the right opportunity. You can get more experience on the side. You can get more education on the side. You can do what it takes to get a better gig. Don't take the first thing that's available because you're so desperate for change. I get it. Everybody is willing to do what it takes, but very few are willing to wait as long as it takes. And people get in bad financial situations when they try to make things happen too soon. So use those 3 criteria. And if the answer is yes, I can afford it, yes, it puts me on the right path, and yes, it gives me growth opportunity in the near term, then take it. 844-747-2577 is the number. Let's go to Laura, who's on the line in Londonderry, New Hampshire. Laura, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
I can. What's going on?
Oh, this is so exciting. So I'm an attorney, licensed in Mass and Florida. I court reported my way through law school, and I built a small family law business supplementing through court reporting. I'm moving to Florida, and I have a few options, and I honestly don't know what to do. I have family in both states, so flexibility is pretty important to me. There's pros and cons to being a solo practitioner or working in a firm, and I struggle with those.
Okay, good. So I want to know those two options pretty clear. Tell me what option one is.
Okay, so I can either just be a solo practitioner in Florida, and I can open virtual office right out of the gate, supplement through court reporting, with a strong marketing plan in place and using the entree leadership advice.
I like that. That's good advice. All right, option two.
I could work for a family law firm for a year or so, become acquainted with Florida courts and forms. It may also give me more credibility because I'd be new in town. The proximity principle comes to mind. I loved your book.
Thank you.
Most of the family law clients that I would get while in a firm, I would probably get a commissions on that, bringing it into the firm. The third option, I have a background long ago in litigation. I could work for something totally different, which is my least favorite option, or I could build family law like on the weekends and nights where there wouldn't be a conflict with the firm. Or I could just forget about building a solo and just work for a firm and run with that. My end goal 10 years down the road, like to be a court magistrate or a judge. I really like helping people.
Okay, this is great information. All right, let's really focus here. I want us to start before we go into option 1, 2, and 3. And by the way, I'm leaning towards striking option 3. It was so pathetic sounding that it's like, why in the world would option 3 even be on the table, Laura? All right, now let's talk about that 10-year goal. See, that's the driver with option 1 and 2, because 10 years from now you want to be a magistrate. So the first question I have is there a leader between option 1 and 2 in the clubhouse right now as it stands that you feel or you know with facts that puts you on that path, puts you further down the path to becoming a magistrate? Any one of those two is the clear leader?
No, because I have to actually sit down with one and get a little more information on that.
All right, great. So we don't need to spend any more time on that because we don't know right now which of those two gets us there. So I'm curious. You're a very accomplished lady. You called me with 3 options. Option 3 is awful. I'm taking it off the table. Okay?
Me too.
Okay, great. When you called me, you had a sense which one you would do without my advice or anybody else's advice. Which one was it?
I want to do 1 because that's what I've always done, but I think 2 makes the most sense.
Okay, so hold on a second.
At least for a year.
So answer the question again. You just gave me political speak. You've been watching too much politics on TV, Laura. Which one is the one that you think is the right option, 1 or 2?
I think 2.
Yeah. Now say why with some conviction.
Well, credibility, the proximity principle, just some mentoring.
Yeah.
It's a whole different state. The courts are different. Everything's different there than Massachusetts.
Yep, and I agree with you. And I actually think that option number 2 takes a lot of pressure off as well. I'm going to throw that one in there. And I think it fast forwards your relationships so that you sit down with an actual magistrate within the first 6 months of you being in Florida and going, hey, I want to be where you are one day. How would one go about doing that? And I just think that number 2 is the clear decision for you in your own head and heart. And I trust your head and heart. I really do. And I think that's the way to go. I really do. I think that is the way to go.
I think I'm so relieved. Thank you. And can I just ask one other quick little tale to this?
Yeah.
The reason I struggled so much with this is I have older siblings in New Hampshire, and because I've always sort of been a solo, when I work for people, I feel stuck. I have a hard time sometimes because, what if a family member's in the hospital and I have to get there, and that's been the hold up for me.
Yeah. What do other people do when they live in one state and they have a family member get in a serious medical situation? What do they do? I'm just curious.
Well, they ask for time off and they buy a plane ticket.
Yeah.
If they can get it. And if they can't, they just say so.
Okay. Am I missing something, Laura? Are you different than the rest of us?
Maybe I feel too responsible.
That's it. This is all in your head. I get it. I get you love your family. Now, I'm being silly. I was being completely silly, but to make a point. You do what everybody else does. It's your future. You can't stay in New Hampshire and not pursue the future that you know in your head and heart you're supposed to pursue, to do the work you were created to do, to fulfill your purpose. You can't stay in New Hampshire just because you've got elderly family members who might get sick and die. It's your life. You got to go live your life. You cannot withhold from your future because you feel bad about leaving others behind. Here's what's going to happen. If you were to stay in New Hampshire and not pursue what it is you were created to do, the very people that you want to love and not hurt their feelings and you feel bad about leaving are the very people you're going to resent because they become the lid to your future. Laura, do you want to deal with resentment the rest of your life?
No.
I didn't think so. So, Laura, what time is it?
It's time to move on.
It's time to go. It's time to go. You know it. I know it. Everybody listening knows it. Laura, don't have any guilt at all. Have a spirit of abundance because you know your future. You know why it's your future. You know how it's your future. Laura, stop thinking and let's start moving. Well, that music means my time's almost up, but I want you to know that you matter and you do have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.